Hi class, Steve Cady here, and I want to give a shout out to our best practice reports for discussion board number 2. And I'll begin with the first shout out going to, drumroll, Lisa. Thank you so much for doing a super job. You put a lot of energy into making sure it was complete, it was professional, thoughtful, and interacting with your cohort. So high five and thank you for doing great work. When we look at your post, you did just a super job in here. Let me get this over here so you can see. There we go. So, and it's just a nice setup, brings your own personal style. You come into each of the questions and you walk through them and you elaborate really well. So you're thoughtful, and then your discussion over here with your team, your cohort, great discussion, great interaction with them. Very reflective as well as back and forth. So again, thank you for doing and taking the time to do good work. 2 suggestions. One quick one, use numbering. And so I'd encourage you, like for example, just take introduction, bring it over, take the bullet out, center it, and then go question 1, 2, 3, 4. That's simple. And I think there might have been one other thing that and this is for everybody. What I want to see you do is take 5 to 10 terms from the resources and so forth in the class and use them in sentences somewhere throughout this and just bold the word so that we're taking that learning and we're demonstrating that. So as we read, we'll begin to see these key terms that we use in application through sentences and explanation. And I'll learn something by reading your 5 to 10 keywords that you really like. I'll read something from somebody else's. You'll learn something from somebody else's post. So I want us to start seeing how these words are used in discussion, in sentences. And I want us to practice using them in ways that demonstrate our understanding of how those words fit into a description or an explanation or something along those lines. So I would encourage you to do that. And that goes for everybody here. So those would be 2 suggestions. And again, thank you for taking the time and energy and putting your best into this, because I can really tell you gave this very serious attention, time. You dug deep, took a lot out of it, and you shared it, and you worked with your cohort through the discussion to help everybody go deeper and have good reflection with this discussion board. Next person is here is Aaron. Aaron, thank you for again doing a great job with this one. You did a good one on the first one. This one here you did a super job on. And I think what I particularly like is your introduction and how you set it up and came into this, and then how you professionally laid it out, and then how thoughtful you were. And again, my suggestions here focus on bringing that terminology in and bolding it and showing where it's used. I think you did a lot of it in here. I would just encourage you to bold it to show those key terms that are being used throughout. Your discussion, you were thoughtful and reflective. I think you went in and really broke down and analyzed and looked at and gave people such detailed feedback, which I appreciated. I know they did. So nice work there. And our next person, Dawn. Dawn, high five, great work. I appreciate your complete professional, thoughtful, and how you went through and laid this out. My encouragement to you in here is on the introduction and conclusion to build in more of that purpose. This introduction here, for example, right after the quote, would be good for you to set up creatively a sense of purpose for this particular post that will set us up for coming in and reading. And then you hear on this last part, these 2 sentences here, you describe what you're going to do. So I think a little bit more of elaborate on that quote, how it relates to the purpose of this post and what people can expect to take away from your submission here to the class, and then a conclusion to do that. I think otherwise everything is just so complete, professional, and thoughtful and laid out. And I think the other piece around bringing some key terms in, just encourage everybody to do that. And then the next person is Violet. Violet, great job, high five. I encourage you here to just continue to be this analytical and reflective, and you really see the pieces and start tying them together. I encourage you to continue to develop on that, where you are seeing the parts in the system or parts in a complex item or issue, and start seeing these moving parts and make those connections more relevant for people. So keep working on that. I think you're doing a nice job of that already. I think where you can do that is, again, and I've mentioned this maybe before around the bullets, making sure that you're doing a little bit to set them up, maybe a little bit to talk about how they interconnect. So it might be obvious to you, help to explain how things are connected and describe them. And that's a really challenging thing to do, and I think you're up for it and up to it. And then I think also your discussion with your group and how encouraging you are with your cohort is great. Thank you for doing that, and taking the time to be so thoughtful with each and every person and have that interaction. And I think the same thing also, I don't know if I mentioned that, Dawn, same thing for you in terms of how much attention you paid to people. And also with Aaron, how thoughtful you were, and same thing with Lisa here and the thoughtfulness. You all did a great job in the group discussion, interaction, and supporting each other. So I'm super impressed, grateful, and high five. Bye for now.